Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to day 4. It's a beautiful day outside. If you're a Canadian viewer, happy Thanksgiving. It's a beautiful day outside, so I just wanted to record a quick video and just talk about something that I've been kind of thinking about. And in this case, the topic could be studied for years and years and years, but I just kind of want to talk a little slice of it and just kind of how it's affected my life. So in this case, I wanted to talk about the concept of yin and yang. And so, yes, the black and white swirly circle thing, and just all this idea about being balanced. And I was really taught, yes. I was taught this by my dad, just on this idea that the context is what determines the advice. And this is something that, took me some time to understand. But when I was growing up, I have a younger sister, just so you guys know. And when I was growing up, I was trying all these different things. I've been relatively ambitious my entire life, not necessarily in terms of doing well in school or anything, but I've just always been tinkering, trying to figure out new things. And so during this time, like whether it's high school, university, or even after graduating, my dad usually has a kind of like pull me down to earth type of attitude when I tell him about my ideas, what I'm working on. And I noticed that, with time, that for my sister, she wasn't as ambitious as me growing up. Though I will say she's doing really cool things these days, so I'm really proud of her. But just in terms of uh, the general things that my dad would tell her, it was more about like uplifting her. You're able to do anything you put your mind to. And so I've always kind of just thought when I was younger, I was like, why do I get the no, like you got to be, bring back to earth, like just do the normal stuff, and why does my sister get the like you can do anything you want? And I think it really took me time to understand that being balanced is really the most optimal frame of mind. And so like during the times where I'm feeling really, really up, as in my dad, giving me some advice, his advice essentially is pull me back down to earth. And for my sister, when she's feeling like, oh, I'm not really sure if I can do things, of course, his advice has to be kind of like uplifting her and trying to make her feel like, things are possible, things are, you're able to achieve these kind of things. And I think that concept of yin and yang, and realizing that when you're super hopeful in yourself, or you're feeling like, oh, like I'm just taking so many W's here, like it's just never gonna stop. Like that type of mindset's just obviously not gonna be good for you, just because eventually you're going to disappoint yourself. Just because, as we all know, like you're not real if you never took a loss, right? The more and more cool stuff you do, the higher and higher and higher you climb, the higher and higher chance that you're able to fall. Life's a little bit like a tightrope. And that's kind of the amazing part about it, if you're able to do so well, is that you're so high up, but everybody knows, like, the higher you up, the harder you fall, right? And so I think that's kind of the benefit of being in this balanced mindset, is that you're never too hopeful for yourself. So you're not trying to, you don't think that you can't be killed. And you should never feel like doubtful of yourself as well. And I feel like that's kind of the beauty of yin and yang, and the beauty of being balanced, is that you're able to see what you're able to achieve, but you're also, you recognize the fact that you're able to fail. And I think honestly, that's like a huge part of being human, just knowing that, there's so much that for us to be able to do, there's so much for us to grow into, but at the same time, we may not make it. Nothing is guaranteed in this life, right? And it's kind of the beauty out of all of this. And that's kind of the big thing that I really learned from my parents, or from my dad in particular, in terms of just like type of lessons that we would learn as we were growing up, is that the type of person you are speaking to, you need to be able to give the right advice. So the right advice can't just be given to everybody. Each person needs their own right advice. And so just making sure that you're always in this balanced mindset of knowing that you have the ability to achieve things, and that you are hardworking, and that you are smart, and you are able to learn these things, and that you will be able to achieve it. But at the same time, there's a possibility that you won't. And at the same time, isn't that kind of what makes things fun? Just knowing that, and it kind of keeps you safe, because if you think that you're just going to achieve all life, you're never going to take an L, when it does happen, that's gonna really hurt you, right? Or if you feel like you're never going to be able to achieve anything. You probably won't, just because you're kind of limiting yourself. But if you're in this balanced mindset of like knowing your capability, but knowing at the same time like things may not work out, I feel like that's when you're able to make the most conscious decisions that will, do you right for your life. So that's kind of all I wanted to chat about today, was just that kind of idea of yin and yang, and the importance of knowing that you're able to move up, but there's also chances for failure. And it just keeps you in a mindset of like, let's understand the context of what's going on. As we can just constantly move forward. Yes, some things may not work out, but that's okay. There's always going to be another way. You're probably just not paying attention to it. And that's like one thing that I've looked upon in my own life, where a lot of things that happened in my life, I just, at the time I look as an L, and like as time expands, I start realizing like I needed that at the time. Or like, actually that L turned into a W down the road. And so it's kind of my belief these days is a little bit more like, if you've been stacking L's these days, that's not because you're an L machine. It's just because, sometimes things just don't work out. But the more L's you collect, the higher chance for the next W. And so just being in that balance mindset, this is totally just off the radar now. I'm just going crazy. So hopefully you had learned something from this. Hopefully you guys have a nice Thanksgiving if you're Canadian. And other than that, I appreciate you guys for watching. Thanks.